Record.
All right. Beautiful NBA theme music from 82 and 89 there. Playoff intro rather than this crazy crap we got on now. Telling it like it is, Dave Scholler. NBA playoffs update. Try to do it every weekend. Weekend 2 here. Although maybe not every weekend as the rounds get later because you have less and less teams to talk about. But certainly a ton to talk about. First things first, some NBA news. Nick Nurse gets fired by the Toronto Raptors. GM Masai of Toronto. I mean, Jesus Lord. I mean, Nick Nurse, one of the best coaches in the league. I know he let Fred VanVleet shoot him out of tournaments, but what are other options with that roster? I mean, you got Scotty Barnes and Pascal Siakam, but you don't have that pure scorer on that team. And yeah, VanVleet's a volume shooter, and we all know that, but whose fault is that? So here we've had two Coach of the Years in the last 6 years for Toronto, the only franchise with that. They've both been fired. Perhaps it's time to look in the mirror for the GMs and the leadership of Toronto. Why that roster stuck? I can't believe that team even made it to the play-in. That roster was just awful. Yeah, I know they blow a 19-point lead in the second half with about 20 minutes left in the play-in game. But at the same time, how'd they even get a 20-point lead, that roster? That's an awful roster. Just don't think they're any good. Like I said, VanVleet's a volume shooter. Siakam's a really good player. Scotty Barnes a good role player, but you don't win with just good role players in this league. You win in basketball more than any other sport with superstars. They fire him. Detroit puts their coach in the front office, another solid coach who was the former coach of the Toronto Raptors. What a shock. And just some strange moves. I thought Detroit made some progress this year, but obviously there's still some stuff there. I'm sure he'll have a great run in the front office, but just some news right there. Again, like I've said, I'm telling you like it is for the last 2 years with the NBA playoffs, and I was right way before this one started, and I was right last year. No sport in the world has more impacted by injuries than the NBA playoffs. And here we are again, impacted by injuries. My man Magic had that happen to him in 1989 and 1981. Get the 81, hurt his knee at the end of the season. Wasn't available for the Houston Rockets until came back. He was still gimping. They lost to Moses Malone and the Houston Rockets in 81. But so many injuries. I mean, Adams and Clark, and then Ja was out. Ja's back, but he still doesn't look good. We got to see what happens with Brooks with the suspension. So we got to check that out. We got those injuries there. It's such a shame. Clippers Paul George has not played the whole series. John Wall hasn't played in a long time. Kawhi Leonard's there to get off to a great start, and now they're going to be done. They're down 3-1. But again, so many injuries, and we'll get to that in a minute. Some of the series are at the turning point here where you're going to have a great series or it's going to be a blowout, and there's others which are already pretty much done. And a warning to the wise, some of these series are a lot more viable than people think. Nuggets, T-Wolves, Nuggets are up 3-0, cruising along unless there's a major injury. I don't see that. It's weird because if you look at the size and the rebounding depth of a team like the T-Wolves, you just can't believe that they're that bad. But between you got Cat, okay, and you got Gobert there, who just, not going to be able to maybe find spacing on the floor, and Cat's turned into a glorified jump shooter, which I hate to say. I think they're going to probably try to move him at the end of the season. They'll keep Gobert, obviously, and the stud, the young fellow on the wing there, putting up 29, 30 points a game. Really just a stud. Love watching him play. It's just a great, great player. But the Nuggets are definitely going to move forward there. They're up 3-0. See if they're mature about it and put that game away tonight at 9:30. By the way, it's Sunday in New York, about 1:00. Knicks just tipping off. Suns Clippers is really disappointed. Westbrook, I'm happy for him, has played his ass off. Just disappointed. Kawhi Leonard had them on the ropes, but now it's down 3-1. It's going to go back to Phoenix, and it's going to end there. And Kawhi is hurt again. Also, to some very serious legal trouble for his sister. So we don't know if that really is what's going on here. Again, Kawhi, when he plays, one of the all-time greats, but the key phrase "when you play" makes you not an all-time great. You can't have the phrase "when you play." So not an all-time great because he doesn't play. If you don't play, I don't want to hear how freaking good you are. If you don't play, you don't impact the game. If you don't impact the game, you can't be an all-time great. Next, Kings Warriors, most interesting game of the day here. This is either going to be over or it's going to be a nut cutting series. The Kings obviously would be wise to have put that game away the other night, but they didn't do it. I'm surprised they didn't win that game with Draymond out. I just don't know how they didn't pound them inside. The Warriors don't have a low post defender without him, although I think the Warrior offense in some ways is better without him. They really space the floor. You don't have to guard Draymond, but now you don't. Now you had to guard. Poole jumped in there Poole jumped in there a lot, and you have to space the floor, and you have five guys out there that you have to cover. Sabonis and Draymond with the kicking in the balls and things like that. Draymond will be back today, I'm sure. Be ready to. That's one thing we need to address. If you hitting the guy in the balls on purpose like Draymond, yeah, I could see a game suspension. If you're poking a guy like Harden did or like Brooks did, I don't think you should get the next game suspension. Those are basketball moves. Kicking a guy in the balls isn't a basketball move, and NBA didn't get anything for that. So that was amazing. So there's been way too many suspensions to the next game. To me, if it's egregious, you should miss a game. I don't have a problem when you getting ejected for that game, but missing another game on top of that, not something I'm really excited about. The Warriors, Kings, like I said, Warriors are really playing well, but Fox has outplayed Curry, and you could say it in two ways more than one because Fox actually has to cover Curry. Curry doesn't really cover Fox. Fox is a two-way player. The rest of the world is finding that out right now. Monk is a good player. Sabonis is a very good player. That series is going to be great today at 3:30. Lakers, Grizzlies. Brooks just talking smack, and it's just so fucking annoying. Just play the damn game. Lakers can put a stranglehold on the series tomorrow at 10 o'clock if they get up 3-1. If they ever get up 3-1, that thing's over. And what you have there is you could have the whole side of this bracket with twos and threes be blown up if the Warriors find a way to get this game today. If the Warriors do find a way to get this game today and Looney plays like he could, all of a sudden you could have a 7 and a 6 playing each other in the second round of the NBA Finals, NBA playoffs. And like I told you at the beginning of the podcast last week, is that the NBA today is more about the postseason than it's ever been before. In the old days, it's very hard to find a 7 beating a 2 or an 8 beating a 1. And you could say, oh, gee, Seattle lost to Denver. Yeah, well, the reason you remember that didn't happen too often. And the Knicks in the shortened season beat the Heat. But today, since guys do load management and don't play hard all the time, the seed is less meaningful than ever before. And that's why you're seeing more shocks here. So I really think that the Warriors will find a way to get it to 2-2. And we'll see what happens with the Grizz. We'll see if they suspend Brooks too. Who knows? I'm sure they will because he's acted like a punk and they love to get LeBron more airtime as possible. Lakers have gotten some great contributions from other places. Reeves has been amazing. It's been great. Vanderbilt's been good. They've done a hell of a job. Heading over to the East, this series is more trouble than people are giving it credit for. Guys listen to NBA radio, just hearing guys talk about it, they don't think it's a big deal. It is a big deal. The Heat are up 2-1 on the Bucks, and you know what? Obviously, if Giannis wasn't that serious, he would have played last night. Now you're down 2-1. You get down 3-1. You can kiss your ass goodbye here. Because if you finally put him back in at 3-1, obviously he's not going to be the same player. He's had off for about a week, and now he's going to be stiff. And if the Heat, who shoot the hell out of it, if they're one jump shot away from winning the game, they're going to scare the hell out of you. I mean, I'm rooting for the Bucks. I still think the Bucks are the best team, but without a healthy Giannis, their defense yesterday was a disgrace. Without Giannis, they still shouldn't have given up that many points. That was a disgraceful effort yesterday. Very disappointed in them. I thought they could still win. They won game 2 without him. But yesterday looked like they just went out and laid down. Duncan Robinson got off. Really feel bad for Victor Oladipo after fighting to come all the way back. He gets hurt again. Very, very, very sad. Jimmy Butler is just a beast. Adebayo's proven his worth, obviously. Still don't know why the Bucks aren't punishing him down low. They're just not doing it. I know Lopez is a pop-out guy, but then get Portis on the block. If have a guard post up. Get Holiday to post up. Holiday is one of my favorite players. Does everything. Like I said, modern-day Dennis Johnson. This should be interesting, though, with the Bucks and the Heat. I think this series could be in serious trouble. They've not been honest with us about the health of Giannis, so we're not sure what to make of it. But I got to say, at tomorrow night at 7:30, Monday night, that'll be at 7:30. If Giannis doesn't take the floor, something's up, and you could be looking at 3-1. You get to 3-1, you could have the 1 seed out as well. And again, this is another example of just the injuries just killing the NBA playoffs. Like I said, the Grizzlies have no Clark, no Adams. The Lakers just got a great walk into the next round with those injuries. If they do find a way to close it out, Cavs Knicks really live series just started, game 4. I really feel the series comes down to Mobley and Sexton. To me, Mobley's the guy. He just changes everything. To me, he's one of the most talented players in the league. When he's on, I feel like there's no way that's a totally different team. Mobley is a tough player, and LeVert was awful the other night. I feel like Mobley and LeVert are the keys to the series. I feel like they're if they have good days, I feel like the Cavs are going to win the series. Randall's averaging about 17.3 a game, shooting horrifically. He's going to need to play better, or they're going to have to sub more and get a little faster tempo, maybe get Toppin in the game. This series has been a blast as a New Yorker. The Knicks fans, already probably looking too far ahead. We could have some really great second round series here if we could just get these guys healthy. This would be a blast. Speaking of health, Sixers swept out the Nets. Embiid is probably going to be out for a little while. He had about 3 or 4 different injuries in game 3. Claxton got thrown out of game 3. Harden got thrown out of game 3. And game 3 was the Nets Waterloo. They had that game. They're up 5 with about 2 minutes left, and they gave it up. And, they had their chances, and they just didn't get it done on the floor. Embiid with a big block. So didn't have a great offensive game. Kept getting hurt in game 3. I thought the Sixers were just doing cautionary. I thought maybe he just needed the game off, but obviously it's more serious than that with Joel Embiid. So, but that series is over. You got to be happy for Harden. You got to be happy for Tobias Harris, local guy, played great. Tobias always plays, so we root for him on here. Plus, he's a good dude. Sixers move on, get that needed rest. And this is always the fine line discussion between too much rest and rust. We have to figure out which one it is. Is it rest or rust? Which one is it works? I've seen it work both ways, so trying to figure it out is meaningless. Celtics Hawks. Celtics better have the hair on their arm up. They play tonight at 7:00, and Trae Young had 1 good game and 2 abysmal games. And like I've said before, I think that team should be better than they are. They're much better talent-wise than a 7 seed. I even told you last week I think they're as talented as the Celtics are. Obviously, they don't have a Tatum or a Brown, but their overall depth on the Hawks is a scary situation. They're a very talented team. They just have to find a way to share the rock. All right, and that backcourt is magical. They just have to find a way to, play some defense, get something out of Collins, get something out of Capella, and let the backcourt take care of the rest. And I think that they could definitely tie this series. I think the Celtics are a better team, but like I said to you last week, the Hawks are a live dog. This is not a typical 7 seed. Them and the Lakers this year laying in the weeds. Don't forget the Lakers made all those trades at the deadline. Totally different team than they were before they were the 7 seed. Same with Phoenix, still trying to figure each other out. Phoenix doesn't have any depth. Looks like they're going to get away with it in this series, but Phoenix has sold their depth to the Nets, who are now out. And by the way, let me just say, if the Nets could pick up a real good point guard next year somewhere, I don't know who's going to be available. That could be a serious team. I think that's a 50-win team if they could find a way to get a really good point guard, unless they want to go the other route and try to get the best player available, a superstar. I love Bridges, but the Nets really don't have a superstar. Surprised about, it's unfortunate that Curry didn't really play a lot. Joe Harris played sparingly. I thought they could have helped, but I guess they weren't in Jacques' version of the minutes, so we'll see. It wasn't in the rotation, and we'll see. But Hawks Celtics today at 7:00. Like I said, 1:00 right now. Cavs and Knicks. Bucks and Heat tomorrow night. Tonight we got Nugs and T-Wolves. See if the T-Wolves can figure out their life and see if they can fight with it on the line. I think they got problems with spacing on the floor, and like I said, Cat's become just a jump shot, and they're gonna have to make some big time changes. And I think Mike Conley's doing the best he can there, but it's just not clearly working out. And like I said, at 3:00 we got Kings Warriors. Awesome stuff. So what I would say to you is, it's going to be an exciting day of basketball. We're on iHeartRadio. We're on iTunes. We're on Spotify, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Let us know what you think. We'd love to hear from you. I'll give you an update again next weekend. Hopefully we'll be into the second round with some of these situations, or we'll be in some game 7s maybe next week. We look forward to that. Here we go on Telling Like It Is. We'll definitely catch you next time. And don't forget, Magic still has the most triple doubles all time in playoff basketball. They always like to show that stat, and playing half the games as the guy that they supposedly call the king. So we'll take care of yourselves and have a good day.